Roblox is known for its iconic blocky and simplistic character introduced in the game's official release in 2006. Even with the vast number of available avatars to choose from, like a big guy, the spongy tickling bandit, massive woman, and a worm, the original blocky avatar has become a staple for Roblox that most people associate the platform with. However, this wasn't always the intention, since concept art and blog posts dating back to 2005 and 2006 reveal that Roblox wanted to take an entirely different approach to their character designs. The concepts also reveal that Roblox wanted to keep everything cohesive and recognizable, which contrasts with the mixed visual style present now. The conceptualization of Roblox began sometime in 2003, and naturally, the game went through a few different iterations before landing on what we know it as today. In 2003 and 2004, the name GoBlox and Dynablox would be passed around until the name Roblox was officially adopted sometime in 2004. After finalizing a name and idea, the team had many other elements to construct. These include a recognizable logo, attractive character designs, and a welcoming website page. That's where Mike Rayhawk came in. Mike is a self-described toy and game designer that joined the Roblox team sometime in 2005. He was the concept artist responsible for creating designs for logos, characters, web pages, and more. On May 25th, 2021, Mike would publish a write-up attaching a lot of concept art he did throughout his time with the company, and it provides a lot of information on the direction Roblox wanted to take at this time. We get a look at early head designs, logos, avatar designs, and more, which all illustrate the initial direction Roblox wanted to take. The write-up opens with iconic Roblox badge logos he made. For all the fetuses out there, when I say Roblox badges, I'm not talking about in-game badges. Rather, I'm talking about badges given to you directly by Roblox for things like having more than 20 friends, having BC membership, or getting more than 100 place visits. These badges are pretty iconic and are attributed to old Roblox, but gradually, they've faded into obscurity and a lot of them are even unattainable now since they're discontinued. But in Roblox's early years, they were just pretty cool to have. Mike designed many of these between October and November 2006, and they've become one of the most recognizable things of old Roblox. Some details on these designs is provided, as it states, in 2005 to 2007, we were working on developing a visual style for Roblox, a construction game engine that gave kids a level of control over its content that was, at least at the time, unprecedented. Forcing any kind of unified aesthetic onto the Wild West of online gaming was probably impossible, but we wanted to create a style that would distinguish the game from the staid and stodgy style associated with construction toys at the time. Roblox was irreverent, freeform, and action-focused in all the ways that companies like Lego weren't in 2005. The badges above are the best example of the direction we were pushing, sticking to simple shapes and solid primary colors to sell the kids' construction angle, but with dynamic starbursts, fisheye distortion, and a glossy candy-like shine. Roblox targeted a much lower age group when it was still developing its user base and functionality. I was really fond of this early style, but as the players and engine matured, it gradually became obsolete. As stated by Mike, Roblox envisioned itself to be very different from what it would become, since they wanted to target a very young demographic through a colorful and cartoony aesthetic rather than a simplistic and polished one. Mike also recognizes that Roblox wanted to create a unified aesthetic that would distinguish itself from other properties at the time. Now, all the previously showcased badges made it into the game and lasted around 2014, to which point they would be altered to look more simplistic and modern to fit with the game's changing direction. This is the point of Mike's report where we get a lot of concept art that did not make it into Roblox. The first are these logos made in March 2006 that you can tell are going for a more rounded design. Even the more square type logos of the bunch are still beveled instead of being simple blocks. Some information on these designs is also provided, as it states, but we didn't have the kids color cartoon direction laid out on day one. Those badges and that logo did not arrive until a full year into the process. This was the first sheet of Roblox logo sketches in March 2006. The concept process started out in a very responsible and respectable manner, talking about style elements and shape language and the brand message we wanted to get across. These earliest logo sketches looked a lot like the direction Roblox would eventually take in 2017, a construction engine's emphasis on classic geometry, discrete elements on a strong grid, and then little notes of chaos to reflect the dynamism of a game that at the time was mostly about jumping around and blowing stuff up with bazookas. None of these had the iconic brand statement death punch of the 2017 logo's tilted square, but they were heading in the same general direction. Mike compares these early designs to the Roblox design of 2017, but in my opinion, they don't really look too much alike, and I think Mike's are honestly better. The 2017 logo with the infamous Cheez-It icon isn't attempting to utilize classic geometry or anything like that. It's attempting to be as basic as possible due to the trend of oversimplifying logos. Now, this is the part of the document where we get into character designs, and these concepts are drastically different from what we typically attribute to Roblox. The first image are of head designs, and they date back to December 2005. Before giving my amazing visual analysis, let's read what Mike has to say about them. The logo concepts did not appear out of nowhere, which started working in 2005 on developing a shape language that would apply across all of Roblox. Whatever combination of classic geometric forms and beveled squares we ended up on, the hope was that players could look at any element and immediately know it was Roblox. Not just the logo, but also the figures, the websites, the badges, the construction bricks, the UI, and whatever other marketing and products Roblox might create in the future. The heads in the sketch above were the very earliest examples of shape directions we wanted to explore as starting points. The figures show where we started exploring. We were strongly focused on distinguishing ourselves from existing construction figures, avoiding the flat blocky forms of brands like Lego, and leaning towards barrels and bevels and curves instead. As Mike said, at this time, Roblox wanted to have a unified look that connects its logos, avatars, website visuals, badges, bricks, and other aspects in order to make it stand out and recognizable. And the concept heads further support this claim. If you watched my previous video, which you should if you're based and have WRIZ, you'd know that Roblox really pushed the beveled style look in the website's infancy. Beveled bricks were present before the game's official release in 2006, and you can see them in many pre-release images. They would be taken out in 2006, but would be reintroduced in 2007. Based on this, it's reasonable to assume that Roblox wanted to go towards a more smooth and cartoony look initially. They would even characterize bevels as looking like candy in blog posts, emphasizing the cartoony direction. This probably influenced a lot of the website's early developments, as Mike pointed out how they wanted every element of the platform to coincide with one another. The heads further emphasize this, as none of them are blocky or have standard shapes. They have smooth edges identical to bevels. The faces also amplify the cartoony style and have a lot more detailed expressions as opposed to the simplistic designs we would get in Roblox's early years. All of these have noses too, which is something none of the Roblox faces have. It's kinda uncanny, okay? It's kinda weird if you think about it with your brain. Roblox would shift toward this more detailed look later on, and honestly guys, these are something, okay? They're definitely something. The next set of images are of early Roblox avatars, and they're drastically different from what we would actually get. As you can see, Roblox really wanted to separate itself from Lego figures and wanted to be its own thing, which did not really work out due to the avatar designs they would use, but at this time, this was their primary concern. Based on these sketches, the avatars look a lot like toy action figures rather than blocky avatars. The head shape, eyes, arms, hands with fingers, torso, legs, and feet all attain the smooth curved style and make them look like toys. The only visual similarity between these and a Lego figure is the hand shape, which creates a circular look. More concept art on the arms and hands is provided, and the action figure aesthetic is evident. These are all dated back from January 2006 to April 2006. A Lego arm is also placed next to them, and notes are drawn out to avoid any similarities. Based on these sketches, the arm alone had a lot of detail and different parts rather than being a simplistic block arm would end up getting. There's a shoulder pad, elbow with articulation, a rotating forearm, and actual fingers, which is cursed, okay? This is a cursed look. An image of the arm from an inside view is also visible, and the joints on the arm further emphasizes that they were going for more of a toy look for these. An example of a textured arm is also provided with an unused Roblox logo on the shoulder. Some comments on these designs is also provided by Mike, as he states, "We put put a lot of thought into designing the figures to give ourselves the opportunity to sell LEGO compatible action figures further down the road. Luckily, this did not go anywhere. We designed these figures for the younger player base of 2006, based on the style and proportions of elementary school toys like Imagine Next. By the time Roblox introduced physical toys in 2017, the player base and avatars had aged up and gone in a different direction, leading to the Robloxian 2.0 and Arthro avatars instead, a much more
satisfying
all-ages product line. The final arm in full color shows that I was still thinking in very toyetic terms. Molded plastic with LEGO-style opaque prints. That R tattoo was from yet another Roblox logo concept that did not pan out. As said by Mike, Roblox's target demographic in its early years was primarily little children, and even though that's still the general demographic now, the website's grown beyond that, with a lot of older people utilizing it too. Mike compared these concepts to toys like Imagine Next, and yeah, they do look pretty similar with the way they're designed. Thinking about this from a technical perspective, because I'm a technical guy, okay, I like to think and ponder. I'm sure this would have caused some issues with performance, since these concepts have a lot more parts in comparison to the blocky model we're accustomed to. The arm alone has 4 separate meshes, so I'm sure that's part of the reason why they leaned away from these designs. Now, these were just concepts, but one of these character models was actually made and shown off in 2007. 2 images of design notes are provided, and both date back to April 2006. The first image outlines the differences between the male and female avatars, such as the female having a thinner neck, smaller shoulders, different head shape, thinner arms, and more. The second image gives us a better look at the model, and guys, I just had a revelation. This is the beginning of the big Roblox thigh girls, okay? This is the inception. This is the beginning of that evil trend. It was this design all along, okay guys? Blame Mike. I'm kidding, that's a joke. The input given on these models by Mike states, Roblox historians will recognize this figure as 2007's Fused Girl Mesh. I did not have a lot of direct input into the 3D modeling. I sent some notes and sketchovers like the ones above up to the modeler in San Mateo. Ultimately, the geometry limitations for the minimum spec player computers in 2006 were too tight to make this style of figure work. The complex curves required more triangles than the engine could afford to spare, and the low poly approximation we were able to build in engine looked wonky as hell. This entire line of development was scrapped, but the work we were doing here influenced a lot of the other design directions over the course of 2006. This confirms my claims that Roblox did not go forward with these designs partially due to the limitations of the hardware, since the concepts had a lot more detail and translating those in engine looked pretty weird, as you'll soon see. Now, you might be wondering if you're a wondering type of individual where you wonder or even ponder on things of what this Fused Girl Mesh Mike is referring to here. Well, on May 3rd, 2007, former Roblox administrator John Shedlet Sky, yeah, I said Shedlet Sky, okay, sue me. Arrest me even, made a blog post titled A Hairy Problem. In it, he shares a sneak peek of a hair that he made. It looks pretty weird, okay, I'm gonna admit, it looks pretty bad. Keep in mind, this is when there were no hair accessories, only hats, so they were still testing out how they would approach it. Shedlet Sky shared this concept and said how they were trying to add more character customization based on community feedback. He also states, making hair look good on blocky characters is hard, especially when you want the characters to also wear hats. There's a lot we could do here with enough time, 3D math, and artistic skill. Now, the very next blog post on May 8th, 2007, titled More Character Visuals, shows off the aforementioned Fused Girl Mesh. Be warned guys, okay, it's a little creepy, okay? The post opens with Shedlet Sky talking about the previous one and how the hair on the Robloxian looks weird. He says it looks weird, okay? It looks weird, freaky, and very odd, as some would say. He states, as everyone saw in my last post, slick-looking mesh hair sitting on top of our blocky Roblox character created a rather freaky-looking monster. No one on the team thought it was okay to turn all Robloxians into hideous Frankenstein amalgams, so the scope of my project has been expanded. The status of the character changes is Deep Alpha, meaning we're working on it every day, but we have no idea when they will be released. Okay, so I admit that the hair mesh on the Roblox avatar looks pretty weird. but I just attribute that to the hair itself just not being that greatly designed to fit a Robloxian. In Roblox's perspective, they thought that the hair just would not work on a typical Robloxian no matter what. So their amazing solution was to overhaul the entire Robloxian and create an entirely new avatar. This proposal was presented a year into Roblox's official release. At this point, the blocky avatar already became iconic, so people would obviously not like the change. The new avatar presented to players, and the one Mike was referring to, is this amazingly constructed thing, okay, this thing. And you can see that it attains a lot of the design elements from his concept art. The chest, arms, and legs look pretty much the same, and the arms also seem to have the articulation present on the concepts as well. The main difference I can see are the hands, which don't seem to have fingers like in the concept art, and instead are identical to Lego hands. And the big thighs are here too, guys. I just can't escape the Roblox thigh girls, okay? They're in games, they're on the websites, and now they're even in the concept designs. There's no escape from these people, okay? You gotta look out for yourself, you gotta watch out. Honestly, this has more of a Frankenstein look than the Robloxian with a hair on it. The post ends with, "We had some professional artists, including the incredibly talented Mike Rayhawk, who also did some of our badge icons, prototyped a Roblox character for us a couple of months ago." The character above is wearing the same hairpiece that looks so bad on the traditional blocky Robloxian. You can see that it looks much better here. It does not look better, okay? Why are you lying? Why are you lying to our face? Okay, maybe you believe that the hair looks somewhat better here, but like, this entire thing does not fit Roblox. You can tell that they were still testing out what could and could not work on Roblox, and this was their attempt at a different avatar before Robloxian 2.0, but it just did not work out. And I'm not the only one to share this sentiment, as this concept got a lot of backlash from the community. Back then, you were able to respond to blog posts, so we have quite a few angry people sharing their opinions. They were mad, okay? They were mad at this design. They were molding, they were coping, and seething at this thing. Before showing those, there's some surprisingly positive comments on this, and we should have some positivity in our lives, okay? So let's read these. YI239 states, "Love the new character. It should be published. You should make Robloxians look like that, because it is much more detailed. It looks kind of weird though, so how about some more tweaking?" Mr. Max says, "Cool." Okay, that's it for the positive comments. There's a ton of negative ones, but I'll just choose my favorites. Hoodoo456 states, "No, no, 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 no. Do not make that the Roblox character. It sucks like heck. Whatever you do, don't make Robloxians look like that. Please, 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 please." Jacob Ugg324 says, "I mean it. I do have a DS. I could play instead of Roblox, but it needs to recharge a little while." What is this guy nobody cares, Jacob. Why are you telling us this? "But serious, that girly body is so awful. I would rather kiss my Nintendo dog Lucky." What are these comments? Jacob, what are you talking about, man? Jacob left another comment here, and this time he says he'd rather kiss his dirty boot. Jacob, we didn't ask, bro. Why are you telling us this about kissing random things? LDD Model states, "Oh my god, the figure in the last picture is 3 words. Absolutely flippin' rubbish. I don't want to be one of those. I mean, sure, yeah, it could be used in a Mega Bloks online game, but not Roblox." Lastly, I8U2 states, "Oh my god, ugly prototype figure who wants to work on the anti-that monster petition with me. And I like the blocky figures that we have now too." All these comments should showcase the negative reception generated by this potential avatar. People became attached to the blocky avatar within just a year and did not want to see it be replaced, especially not with this thing. This idea for an avatar would be immediately dropped due to the backlash, but you can see remnants of it in some packages created throughout the years. Back to Mike's write-up, he shares some more designs for possible characters, and they look nothing like something you'd find on Roblox. It's obvious that they were taking an entirely different approach, and as Mike said, we're targeting a very younger demographic. Some notes are provided on these concepts by Mike, as he states, "Old school Roblox players will remember these characters showing up all over posters and presentations at Roblox PR and marketing events. Remember those flat color textures on the Commando arm sketch? We abandoned that idea real quick in order to further differentiate ourselves from Lego and other existing construction figures. We switched to a much denser texture style, still sticking to bright saturated colors and sculptural hair forms. These figures were designed to fit into the palette of a building block world, but pepper it with splashes of extreme texture. The avatar portion of the write-up ends with more character designs, and they all attain the aesthetic from the previous concepts. It's clear that Roblox had an entirely different aim during the website's inception, and it's sorta uncanny looking at these and thinking of what Roblox could have been. The last notable thing on this write-up are these concepts for the website, which date back to September, October, and December. They don't look too different from what we would end up getting, and look pretty nice and clean. Mike provides more details on these designs, as he states, "It was still 2006, so we could not get too crazy. We were limited to 2006's rectangular HTML table structures and pre-baked animated GIFs rather than the smooth CSS and vector experiences of today. And Comic Sans was still a standard font for kids' websites. But we tossed in skewed and fish-eyed graphics wherever we could, with cartoon illustrated icons and backgrounds and UI elements. For the logo, we tossed out the entire previous year's high concept work on shape and language and geometric nuance, and just scribbled in some random graffiti-style letters instead. The first appearance of what would ultimately become the new Roblox logo was on a throwaway sketch for funny user rating icons. The team latched onto it, and I kept redrawing it into the site mockups that followed. And that's pretty much all the concepts provided to us by Mike. Mike would depart Roblox sometime in 2007 and would go on to work for other notable companies like Lego. Looking at this concept art illustrates how different of a direction Roblox wanted to take at first, and the demographic they were targeting. They were going for more of a toy and action figure type look rather than a blocky and simplistic one, and they also wanted to keep everything coherent and recognizable. It's cool to see these concepts, but I'm kinda happy we did not end up getting these, since they don't have the simplistic charm the early Robloxians did. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Subscribe, follow my Instagram at BlingMcQueen, and take care.